Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back, and we have
It's been
no
a while.
idea where we're at.
Yeah, I don't know where we're at or what we were doing.
Yeah, it has been a good month and a half since we actually got to record.
Yeah, everyone kept asking me when I was streaming, like, "You're good, you were done." I'm like, "Nah, Jeff was busy, then I was busy, then Jeff was busy."
Yeah,
Just like kind of back and forth.
I saw a lot of comments on videos recently of people saying, I just got invested in this series and now it just hasn't updated. And the nice thing is, for them, I had forgotten that I didn't post 3 videos. So they went out
Oh,
last week. but they're like a month and a half old, but they're right in line with the series. I mean, it's
yeah, that's true. That's true.
they were
Um,
just delayed a little.
we were, what we were talking about. That may be really, because hell, whenever we last recorded, was Joe Biden running for president?
Yes, because it was
Oh,
prior
geez.
to me taking my trip to Canada, which is it happened on like the second day I was there that the announcement that he was
Oh,
dropping.
really? Huh? How you feel about that?
I mean, looking at numbers and such now, it makes me happy. I was very scared at first that it wasn't gonna do enough, but
Uh huh.
I seem to be proven wrong thus far. I mean, according to
I
polling,
mean,
but
yeah.
you know,
I mean, the DNC happened last night. For those that want this episode dated, day one of the DNC, and it had a 21% higher viewership
I
than the RNC.
I saw that statistic. When is the official vote?
Uh, they actually officially voted already
I
because of
so I thought I had saw that happened, and I was surprised to see I wasn't really tracking with when the DNC happened. I kind of just thought the DNC had happened because I thought they had voted already.
the reason why they did it is because technically Ohio requires you to certify earlier than the DNC happens, and Ohio said, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll still honor it," but no one trusts them.
I mean, good reason. It's Ohio. I mean,
Yeah,
as somebody from Michigan, Ohio bad.
I mean, Ohio, I literally had that state banned whenever I sold things on YouTube. If you live in Ohio, you could not buy
You
from me.
sold things on YouTube? That's
I
pretty
mean, did I
amazing.
say YouTube? Jesus Christ, on eBay. Uh, but yeah, yeah, when I sold things on eBay, like every customer I would ever get from Ohio was awful. So I just banned them. Um,
Trying to figure out where we actually need to go.
yeah.
We have mushrooms spreading around here, and I don't know if these are ones that like we planted or if these are just natural cave
No, these are
mushrooms.
natural.
Uh,
Yeah. They
here,
spread. Like, I mean, they're naturally spread, but like we didn't plant the first one.
that's just a hole. Yeah, I gotta.
Um, but yeah, yeah, they did the vote on a Zoom call basically.
You know, it's the way of life now.
Yeah.
How are we gonna vote for our next presidential candidate? On a Zoom call. By the way, tell Congress to get all those people back to the office.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so like the voting that'll happen there's not actually real. It's already happened.
Yeah. So, speaking of the work from home stuff that I just mentioned as a joke. But obviously, remote work has been a big topic for a lot of people. A lot of people trying to like force people back to the office. I saw an article today that came out from OPM, which is like the government, personnel body, that
Uh-huh.
said like now they're anticipating in the next multiple years of massive sell-offs of government properties and buildings.
Oh, because we're just working from home.
Well, and I'm wondering. Well, and I mean, honestly, it's something that they should have done, a long time ago when they realized that this remote work thing was, kind of here to stay, even though they're trying not to make it here to stay. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's weird the pushback it got because I mean, I can understand why people like Elon Musk would push back, right? Because he wants people needing cars to. Oh, I got hit by something. Getting shot by a man. Uh,
are you gonna live?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Oh, there's another one. What the hell, guy? So yeah, like I think whenever he was all the pushback against it and everything, like it's bad for Tesla to not have people going to work, right? Um, but like for the most part, you would think every corporation would see this as a good thing, you
Because they
know?
can get rid of office space, and I
Yeah.
I understand that there's like some companies that are stuck out there because the way the corporate world works is a lot of people are in like these 30-year, leases or whatever for their buildings that they can't get out of.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's kind of like, you took a gamble on taking a
Right.
30-year lease, and Oh my God, I almost just fell into our our wheat farm. Um, yeah, and so I do wonder if, having read that, is the tide officially shifting, because you know COVID started, obviously a lot of people went remote work, a lot of companies weren't ready for remote work, and then people did it and it proved to be effective. Sure that everybody's going to have stories about things that were not effective, and that's just the way anything goes, on people like being lazy, sleeping on the job, like et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But it's proven successful enough that this big pushback that they've really done in the last like year has really shocked me to an extent. But I think there was more recently, in the last like 2 months, I thought there was a pretty massive push to bring people back to the office again. And to read that, I was like, oh, maybe it's finally like,
Huh.
they're,
Yeah, I mean, someone that works from home always. I don't really I'm not privy to what people are talking about in terms of like how it's going to change, if it's going to change, blah blah blah.
well, so I will tell you that I have, when I worked at my previous job, it was, I was supposed to be there a certain percentage of the time, and I ended up getting my remote work agreement, or my telework agreement, I should say, approved to be that I was only on site required 2 days a week, but it was subject to change at any time. And I knew when I took that job, it was I need to be there to support things on site. I'm, helping support a hospital and a data center, and things like that. So I understood that, and I was very happy with the fact that I only had to go in, twice a week instead of, 5 times a week. And that was fine, but they've been pushing against that since, I started. They were really trying to get people back, and then they kind of stopped it because they realized that they were going to lose a lot of people. And so there are those industries. But my new job now, I'm an official remote employee. So I work remotely. My home address is my office address, and it's something that I thought was kind of like, well, I got this remote job, I'm good to go. I'll tell you, when I started in mid-January. And I think sometime in March, they came out with other guidance for them as well, where they wanted to start getting people back to the office. And the point of it was they were supposed to be targeting the teleworkers who were doing like these max telework. So basically they were not remote employees, but they were on these telework agreements. And since COVID, they basically have never been coming into the office. So they're remote, but unofficially remote, But they had written on this document that, they want people in the office 50% of the time. And this does not affect any telework / remote agreements. So they put both of them in there that were signed in December of 2023 or prior.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, but I started in January
Oh.
with a remote job. And I am a remote employee now, working here for a couple months, and now you're trying to say that there's this agreement that only, really officially doesn't apply to people that started the same month that I did. So I was kind of going through some like, well, what's the deal? I've been told unofficially it shouldn't affect me, and so far it hasn't. But still, that's a really weird.
It's kind of scary, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Until it does,
Yeah, exactly. It's well, no, you're fine until you're not, type of situation. I'm just like, I don't know when's the shoe gonna drop, and how do you justify? And I did a lot of research on it, because I'm thinking I'm a remote employee. Like, there's no way, and I'm sure a lot of people are saying, hey, you're a remote employee, you got a remote job, that they can't change that. I've found out that is not true. Like, they can change that. But I don't think it's right, because that's kind of like a different job than I have then. You would have to change something in my status, in my opinion, but apparently that's not entirely true. And so, yeah, I'm still kind of scared every day that they're going to tell me that, hey. And it's funny too, because I work for, a government agency that is, centralized in the DC area. I'm in the DC area. And now they've even changed all their hiring practices. They won't let you advertise remote jobs anymore because of this whole 50% rule. They want you to start your first round of advertisements in the DC metro area. And if you can't find anybody in the DC metro area, you can expand them out, but then they have to go on site at whatever their closest local facility is that they get 50% of the time. And I'm fitting into this boat of, you're telling me my agreement technically isn't solid because it was after this December deadline, and I happen to work in the DC area that you're trying to target all the people in because that's where the central, headquarters is located. Like, I'm in a bad spot.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for you in the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit worried about it every day.
Before you went to Canada, that whole ER trip I did with Apple, right?
Yes.
So what ended up happening? I don't know because we haven't recorded since then. What ended up happening is they referred us to a cardiologist, right? Did I tell you that?
Yes, you said that. I think that was the last thing we actually talked about it was that they referred you to cardiology.
Yeah. So because they basically couldn't find anything wrong. So whenever we left, her heart rate had gotten down to like 119. Like with the moment it dropped below 120, they were like, "Get out." And the next day,
then there's an ER nurse. Yeah, but go on.
The next day is right back up to 150 or whatever. So they're like, this was on, I don't remember what day it was on, but they're like, you should hear from the cardiologist tomorrow, which was a Wednesday. If you haven't heard from him by Thursday, so I guess it was Tuesday. If you haven't heard by Thursday, call them. So I did on Thursday when I hadn't heard from them. You know what they told me? Yeah, you shouldn't expect a call from us. We're booked for the rest of the year. You might hear from us in January.
For the rest of the year. So I think that's a problem in general with the way that some services are rendered is when I was ED nurse, our doctors I think they were required in some way, shape, or form to get follow-up appointments scheduled for people in certain cases before they were discharged.
She didn't think she'd do a referral at first. Eventually, she figured out a way to get a referral without us having to go see the pediatrician.
Without going to see your pediatrician? Because, I mean, they are pediatricians if they're...
Right, yeah, without going to see our doctor. She was able to get a referral. But it didn't do me any good. So her heart rate is still, like, earlier today, it was 165, just sitting around.
Damn.
Yeah, like this has not stopped. Like it's every day, all day. Like I have her watch on her now nonstop. So I've been looking at the data, and the lowest it goes is like 120 when she's asleep.
They give any meds or anything for it?
No, they gave her nothing. They couldn't figure out anything that would slow it down, except for they just kept giving her IV fluids, hoping that it was dehydration. And eventually it did slow down, but it was also whenever she started going to sleep in there. It got so late that she fell asleep, and then her heart rate dropped.
So, are you looking for a different cardiology clinic?
I called her pediatrician, and they were like, "This is the only one in network that where I was referred around here. So, like, I don't have another one in network to even go to. So I literally don't know what else to do. Like, I'm just like, I guess I'm fucked."
Yeah, I mean, unless you're just going to keep going back to the emergency department every time it gets high, like that kind of puts you in a really hard place.
Yeah, I literally don't know what to do.
I am chasing a bunch of zombie sounds through a wall, and I cannot for the life of me find where these guys are coming from.
Huh. I did find when your picks break in this version, it doesn't make any sound.
Oh,
well, I did find a lot of darkness, but I've got it mostly lit up now. There's still more there.
I needed to come back for a lava run. Luckily, I'm right by this lava pool that I almost walked into.
Oh, God.
I might have put a wall up here, maybe, just so I don't do that. Yeah, I mean, sustained heart rate that high is not a good thing.
I know. Like, I literally, the guy on cardiology, he was so, like, just matter-of-fact about it. He's like, yeah, nothing I can do for you. And just, like, nonchalant. I'm like, yeah, but a sustained heart rate of, like, 150 for the next 8 months isn't good for her future. Like, her heart is beating really fast all the time.
I can see you coming my direction.
Yeah. He was like, I don't know, man. Maybe you could call our pediatrician and see if they can do anything. So that's what I did. And then the pediatrician was like, oh, if you've already gone to the ER, there's no reason for us to see you. I can send you to our nurses line. And I'm like, huh?
What? Did you say the heart rate is still like this ridiculously?
Yeah. She's like, well, if it's an emergency, take her to the emergency room. I'm like, I've already been there. I've already done that. They're like, well, we can transfer you to the nurse's line. You can leave a message. So that's what I did, and I didn't hear anything back. That was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I don't know. This is what like scares me and also makes me understand too. When I was in the emergency department, nurse, there was so many people that came in for things. And we even have a clinic on the side it was called at the time ambulatory care area, because it was basically, and it even costs different money when you triage people over there, because it's billed as like an outpatient just visit, because that's the type of thing you do over there. And I used to get so frustrated at the time of like, especially when you have like a 6-hour backup in that area, because there's just so many people that are coming in to be seen, and you're like, this is just like doctor's office stuff. But I mean, when you run into the problems like you're describing, I mean, what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, my mom always took me to the ER because we never had insurance, we never had any money, and she just wouldn't pay the bill. So I grew up I never had a primary care doctor until I was an adult.
Oh, I don't even have one now.
Really?
Yeah, I have to. I mean, I have this weird thing where since
Where you don't have a primary care doctor?
well, where I don't have a primary care doctor. No, but because when I was working the bedside, I had to get yearly physicals at the hospital. And as a firefighter, I have to get yearly physicals that are way more workups than you get as a normal yearly physical, because I have to do now, before it was every other year, now every year, because I'm over 40, I have to get a treadmill test done. So I'm on an EKG machine walking on a treadmill. I have to get my heart rate up to a certain amount. So I'm getting very extensive testing done on a regular basis that a standard physical doesn't cover. So, and I haven't gotten sick to the point where I've needed to go seek medical care. So I don't have one. And the last fire department physical I had, which is actually just a couple weeks ago, the guy told me, he's like, you need to get one because you don't want to be stuck when you need it and you don't have anybody established and then trying to get in somewhere. It's like a new patient. You're going to run into some problems doing that. And
yeah.
So one of these days I will have to do that. I'm going to need your help because I cannot, for the life of me, I don't know if you're still by where I was at, I cannot track down the zombie sound. And I'm digging.
At home, I don't know where you are. Well, I came here to make a pick and I didn't do it. You know what was messed up? So I changed my insurance first of the year because of Ozempic. And
is it covered again or not?
Yeah, it is. It is covered under my new insurance, so it's like $30 or something like that.
And I just saw you a couple minutes ago, so home can't be that far, but I don't know where it's at.
But and I checked before I changed to make sure everywhere I go is in network. One of those places was my daughter's therapist. Comes to find out it wasn't in network, even though the website says it is. So she lost her therapist, which really sucked.
But with the website, and that's another thing, like, because we've been dealing with that with like speech therapy for one of the kids that our kids need speech therapy, and finding people in network was so hard because you follow up on these things that says this is in network and it's not. And how is that my fault?
Yeah, exactly. Like I literally switched insurance and like just, thinking that this is good. Like everything's going to be cheaper except for ER visits. That's the only thing that the price got raised on. I saw you for a second just now.
Oh my God. I almost just walked into more like lava. There's like, I'm in a place on the bottom where we've got these by all the open lava pits, but like I'm coming to them from ledges and it's, I just heard you. Oh, there you are. There you are. Wait, I just saw your name. There it is. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Now where are we at?
I mean, home is up this way.
Oh, here we go. So this way. Watch the lava pit. I almost walked into it from this side. That's why I put the wall up. So back up over here. Oh God, I probably walked too far away and they've despawned. No, I hear a skeleton now. Oh, you just... Now I don't hear the zombies anymore, so it must not have been a spawner, which I was thinking it was. But I heard a skeleton a minute ago. Yeah, not wait, I hear him again. Somewhere here and around and through these corridors that I've dug and just tried to fall down to my death in.
Sounds like it's this way.
I've dug a lot of directions. I'm just very bad at this. I did find out playing a video game once. I had this old headset, wireless headset, and it said something like, "You can hear this in your left ear." And I'm like, this game has got it all backwards because I hear this in my right ear. And I've been wearing my headset like that for years. Turned out I had been wearing them backwards like for years because I looked at it and I'm like, oh shit, it does say that this is supposed to be the other ear.
That's funny.
But anyways, you're talking about the insurance change with.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that sucked. So she lost her therapist. It also sucked because they happened to get a new receptionist. Whenever we first started going there, her appointment was always at like 5:30, so it was like after school, and they didn't ever have a night receptionist. So like you would get there, and if it was after 5, the doors would be locked. The therapist would come out and like let you in, and then have you lock the door behind. Like if someone left, they'd be like, "Can you lock the door behind me?" or whatever. But eventually they got this receptionist, and it was about the same time that we switched insurance. And so I asked her, I'm like, hey, I normally see a copay come off my card before we get here every day, and I didn't see one today. Is everything good? And she's like, I'll have to look into it. I don't know how the system works yet, but I'll find out for you, and I'll let you know next week. So next week I ask again, and she's like, yeah, looks like your new insurance covers everything completely. And I'm like, oh, sweet, even better, no more copay. Fast forward 12 weeks later, they call me up and they're like, you owe us $3,000 because it's $250 a session. They're like, you can't come back anymore until you pay your past due balance. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, your insurance doesn't cover this anymore. And I'm like, well, no one told me. I'm like, I'm not paying that because your receptionist told me multiple times that our insurance was covered, and I would have stopped this like $250. After the first $250 bill, we would have been done. And so I didn't pay it. I guess Crystal has paid part of it now or something, so she can go back for one session to get like closure. But yeah, the whole therapy thing just got really screwed up because of the insurance change. But then my primary care is also an urgent care. It's primary care and urgent care, right? I've gone there. We're out of time, but let me finish this real quick. I've gone there multiple times, urgent care wise. Since I switched insurance, they took it just fine. Whenever I took Apple there the other day, they were like, we don't take your insurance here. And it was fucked up because we called on our way there because it was after 6:30, so their like online check-in wasn't available because they close at 7. So we call them, they're like, oh yeah, you're good. What insurance do you have? We told them, they're like, yeah, okay, we'll see when you get here. We get there and we sit around until right at 7, and then they're like, oh, sorry, you can go to UNC. Instead, they take your insurance. And so we go over there, and they stop taking patients at 7, and we walk over the door at 7:02, and they're like, sorry, it's 7:02. We don't take patients after 7. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I told them what all happened. I'm like, well, this is what all happened. Like, we just got screwed over by Wake Med. And they're like, well, what's the problem? And I tell them, they're like, okay, I guess we'll see her, but we can't do any blood work or any of that because we're going to close. So they like, they did an EKG and all this, and then they're like, you need to go to the ER to get blood work because we can't do it because we're closing. But yeah, this insurance thing's been really pissing me off with stuff like that happening.
Yeah, I completely feel you, and I don't know what the solution to it is. Like, I don't know if there is one. I will say I had Kaiser for a while. I don't know if you know about Kaiser. It's like everything in one place, and it was expensive, but it was convenient.
Mm-hmm.
But we are out of time.
We even have Kaiser here. I was always Blue Cross Blue Shield for the longest time, and I never had trouble with them except it was so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So finally, when I switched, you know what my insurance company's called now?
Oh God, do I want to?
It's UHC.
Ultimate Healthcare.
Yeah, it's like United Healthcare, but yeah, UHC, and I'm like, oh.
They give you golden apples on the way out the door. You're good to go.
But yeah, I mean, like the price of my medication is way better now, but other than that, not so much. And like before, my ER visits were just $100 flat fee, and now it's like percentage of total bill, so that's scary. I haven't got the bill yet from being in the ER with her heart.
Percentage of total. I don't even know if I've heard of that being.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm curious on an update on that one.
Yeah. Sure, it's not gonna be good.
No, it will not. But we are out of time.
Oh yeah. I forgot. Thanks. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.